Hey, just wanted to jump on and share some of the cards that I mentioned that I'd made at Scrapbook Sensation Southland yesterday. So these are based on some guides and instructions that are part of the Dream Maker card making set. Now this set does say that you need to also purchase another stamp set, and there's a few ink colors that they recommend. And blending tools and things like that. There is also a bracket type, quite a nice die cut that I need to look into getting because it does look kind of cool when I've seen it on these cards. However, I have sort of made do with the card kit and stamps that I had, including the Dream Maker stamp set and the Dream Maker stencils, which was also part of what you had to purchase extra. It did come with some pearl dots things, and you were recommended to buy some metallic markers, but these seem to come in and out of stock quite a bit. So I'm just going to share this set of cards. So basically the kit made 16 gorgeous cards. So they're using the Dream Maker collection, which if you have noticed or have looked at it online, it's a lovely sort of these soft subtle tones, and this new color here, which I believe is called Rosy, which I'm thinking we'll probably see in the upcoming Essentials catalogue that'll be coming out in, I think, August, maybe it's September, but anyway, you'll keep an eye out for that. So anyway, I have sort of made a few adaptations, as I usually do, to these different stamp sets. So with this one here, I didn't have this particular stamp that they said, but I thought it would make a really lovely sort of sympathy type card. So I've stamped that on there. I've used the same background, the stencils, and added some paint splatters and things with one of the stamp sets that they have. There's also quite a, you can only sort of just see, let's see it better here actually, in the background there, there's some sort of text stamps which I think are going to be really awesome for all sorts of projects, and I've already used this particular one heaps. Plus I also added the florals, which weren't part of it, but this stamp is part of the Dream Maker collection. I just stamped it with the black ink on some of the pink cardstock that is part of Dream Maker, and I added some silver gems that I already had in my collection. So that is one of the cards. Here is another one, so it's Thankful for You. Again, I didn't have the particular thin cut that they recommended, so I sort of made do with what I had. I've added some of our gold shimmer brush on here around with a gold gem and a couple of silver ones, and I made do with the stamps that I had. So even though there were quite a few recommended, I think that you can easily adapt to suit. Again, this is another one, different shaped brackets, because there's only one particular thin cut that they recommend, but I've pulled in a few others. Gorgeous stenciling, there's stamping, more stenciling up here, and these circles are stencils as well. Plus I sort of embellished with an extra few of the stamps. These are mainly using Sundance and Flamingo inks, so they do sort of show you and walk you through how to do some of this at the very start of the instruction guide. Loved this one and how it came together. Again, I didn't have the designated thin cut, but I made do. Now I just altered it to shrink down a little bit to suit what I was doing. However, I added these gorgeous foliage or leaves I should say, bad English, Mrs. Moss, and these were ones that were left over from Album Retreat last weekend. So we did quite a bit of splattering, a bit of cutting and inking, and some really cool techniques, and I love these leaves, and you will see them coming out in the new idea book for July and August. So watch out. What's currently on offer is sort of ending at the end of this month, and there's a new set coming out, and it will include this die. Now this die is actually one for our full length cards, our cards that are sort of this size, and I'll show you the front of this soon. I've used lots of them again, but when it cuts out, you've got a whole lot of these sort of all over it, so you can use them for other embellishments, and you're also left with the negative image, which is really cool for some of our long line cards. So that's that one. I love the colors, and this is some mint cards, not mint, mist cardstock that I've brought in there, which I love that tone and that addition into that one. The next one, and again I have used that same foliage, is or those same leaves coming out from a different part of it, is Celebrating You card. Quite a simple design. I think this could be used in a lot of different ways, using lots of different paper packs and collections. My addition to this one, again a different thin cut that I've used, and I also just added a white pen line around the edge. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but just added that in there. Nice simple card. Now this one is rather gorgeous. It was the last card in the collection. Now I did put these together as it was the last one. So this Always stamp and most of these other stamps are part of the Dream Maker stamp set. And in this one we stamped it with the Lagoon ink and then fussy cut around each of the letters. So Always in My Heart. In My Heart was one of the other stamps on there. And you can see all this sort of gorgeous layering and texturing in the background here. So this is the stencils mixed in with some stamps that come into that as well. So lots of possibilities with this stamp set and these cards and things. So this one here, Have Faith. Again, playing around with different floral placements and the sort of splatter ink stamp that's part of that stamp set. And again, a different bracket, but it still works. So don't be afraid of having a go with what you've already got. And again, this is another gorgeous one. Now, this is not a stamp. This is the stencil, and then it is fussy cut around, and I've just added some white pen ink in behind it. Again, a different thin cut, and the floral with some gold gems, and then just a normal little silver sparkle gem. So that was the cards that I've made with the Dream Maker card making kit and collection, and there's some guides and instructions and a PDF that I just sort of followed yesterday. Now this card here, I hope my daughter's not watching, is a card that I put together for Alicia's it's probably her 23rd birthday coming up soon. Now she loves dinosaurs, so might seem a little bit babyish, but I've tried to sort of play with the tones and colours that she really enjoys. And so this is Mist and Sage, and in the background here I've used Seabrook, I've used some Sage, and then maybe that's not Mist, it looks a bit darker than the mist, or maybe this isn't mist. So I've used those same leaves that I talked about from the new upcoming catalogue, and these were also part of what we used at album retreats. You can sort of see the texture and layering there. So I put these dinosaurs that are a different step, that are in the current idea book, and I've sort of lifted them up with some 3D foam tape. But before I did all that, I just stuck down this piece of Dream Maker paper. I just drew around it with the black lip pen, and then I got all of these leaves. I sort of cut three different thin cuts with it, and then I got all the different colors that I had left over from that, and I just sort of put them in a container and I splattered them with some of the white acrylic gloss spray, and I also got the mist, this is the wrong color, but the mist shimmer brush that looks a bit like these, and just splattered it inside a box to try and limit the spread of the splatters, and then let them dry while I sort of constructed the dinosaurs and stamped them and fussy cut around them and stuff like that. This raw, the words written here is a stamp. I just used a pen to add the speech bubble, and then before I stuck these down with the foam tape, I went through with my adhesive and I stuck down letters, reasonably random, but just trying to look for a bit of balance, smaller ones tucked in as well. And then in the side I was given the inspiration by Sam, and she said that raw means happy birthday in dinosaur, so I wrote that inside the card. So I'm just ready to write a message to Alicia ready for her birthday, but just a bit of fun card, mixing up a few different collections, a few different ideas. So stamps from the current, paper is part of the National Scrapbooking Month special, and then this thin cut will be coming out and will be available to you soon. So I hope that gives you a bit of inspiration for some gorgeous cards that you can make, and maybe you want to pop over and purchase the Dream Maker card making set, and make sure you get the stamps and the stencils while you're there, because they are really gorgeous and super useful.